the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama, touchdown.
And everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. I'm Randy Lee alongside Scott Hardy. Felt like I was just with you a couple hours ago because I was with you on Auburn Blitz a few hours ago. But we're glad to be with you on Saturday morning from 7 to 9. Give us a phone call, 256-234-6221. You know, one thing I was going to say to you before we came on air, we love talking high school sports. And at times, it's very easy on a Saturday morning to talk high school sports. But when you're in spring sports season, you don't get this long synopsis of scores that pop up on your phone, and here are all the Friday night scores and Thursday night scores to add to it. You've got to search around. You got to find where these scores are. Maybe I'm saying something that's needed out there a little bit more than what we currently have. But I say all that meaning, if you were out at high school baseball, softball, any of those games last night, the individual sports going on, give Scott and I a call. Let us know what went on. We know that it's area time, Scott, so you're going to have area champions begin to be listed out there, and you'll know where everyone's going when it comes to the playoff season, which will start here in the next week or two. So give us a phone call, 256-234-6221. I did want to start the program this Saturday talking about something that doesn't happen all of that often, but and it's also a storyline based off of their games yesterday. But Central Phoenix City, Max Preps this week had them ranked the #1 team in the nation. They were off to a 27-1 start, Scott, in baseball. You know about how impossible that is. They played in the championship series last year. I think they won the championship series the year before. My wife, who is not an avid sports fan, she enjoys sports, but I wouldn't call her. But she asked this, so I'll ask it to you. What makes Phoenix City so good in all these sports? Because it is. She's exactly right. It's every one of them they're really good in.
Well, you look at certain places around the state where you have hotbeds of talent, like a Mobile or some of the outskirts of Birmingham, kind of, Huntsville area. But when it comes to East Alabama, Montgomery has them, but just we were talking yesterday about dogs, and so just dogs in all sports, they've got them. Basketball, baseball, football, softball, all of their sports are good. But, I mean, you look up every year, and no matter the sport, you're looking at them making a semifinal run, a Final Four run, a championship series run. And so for a school that size, too, there's not really a lot of crossover either, so especially on the baseball side. So to see how much talent they have and how successful they've been with guys that are really playing just that sport, it's eye-opening and very impressive. But this baseball, I mean, it's been that way my whole life, and we always used to joke, it's like they don't look any different than what we look. I mean, we size comparison, we felt pretty good about it, and then you get on the mound or you get in the batter's box and somebody's throwing 93 as 10th grader. It's like, we don't have those guys. So they've always been great around the diamond.
Yep, Central Phoenix City, though, Scott, yesterday, play Auburn, and that has been a key matchup in the area. It doesn't matter which sport they're in. They end up in regional matchups in basketball. We saw that. I think it was a 1-point regional final matchup where Phoenix City makes it through to the Final Four. Auburn gets knocked out. Football every year, it's back and forth. I know Phoenix City won both this past year, but 2 years ago, Phoenix City beats Auburn in the regular season. Auburn comes back, beats Phoenix City in the playoff run. So, Scott, when you're talking baseball, that's two of the best programs in the state. There's some others that are close. But there's not any better than Auburn High School and Phoenix City. Phoenix City wins the first of the area matchups this week. Auburn comes back, wins the doubleheader yesterday. Don't know how that sets up the area championship now, but what a win. And you know Phoenix City is walking into a hotbed over at Auburn High School to play that baseball program under Matt Semo, who is in his final year of 32 as the head coach at Auburn High School. You know they're over the moon where they're playing right now, and to be able to get passed the #1 team in the country in Phoenix City twice yesterday.
Yeah, and, saying all those superlatives about Phoenix City, Auburn's been the exact same way. I mean, I think it's even more impressive now. Like, if you're on the Auburn baseball team, because of the amount of people that are trying out, the numbers, if you're playing, you're good. You're good. And so, I mean, we have some people that we know. I mean, you have freshman guys playing for the Auburn team. So, like, the pedigree is there. But Auburn, with a tremendous victory last night, getting both of those wins and getting the area. So, I don't know if that was for the area. But to beat Phoenix City once, obviously, is an accomplishment, but to do it back-to-back games lets you know the rivalry there. And these guys, because of where they are, a lot of these guys probably play on the same travel ball teams or have been growing up playing against each other and with each other. So they're very familiar with each other. And I know that Auburn would love to send Coach out with a state championship ring. Yeah,
it will be a fun watch closing this out. I know there's some other really good teams around the state. We had 2 teams in the top 10 nationally coming into this week. The other was Bob Jones up in the Huntsville market, another baseball program that has won championships and in contention year in and year out. If you're going to play in 7A in any of these sports, Scott, the amount of talent you've got to throw out, and the amount of effort and play dates and, AAU basketball to the travel circuit in baseball, the amount of time that is being put into each of these sports today is even more than anything you and I grew up with. And I felt like we grew up having to play a lot of baseball, especially here in Alex City. We really got out there and got after it. But it's even more so now. And you sit there as parents and you go, I mean, is this right? Is this what I need to be doing? Is my kid's arm, is he going to be able to hold up? I know these are all concerns that parents have out there. But Scott, it's making the game exceptionally good in a lot of these sports.
Yeah, I mean, you sent something, I think, earlier in the week about just Tommy John and arm injuries and the rate that we're seeing in major leagues, and maybe that's something we can talk about a little bit later. But while there is a downfall to it, the positive is, especially on the baseball side, is that, you're getting just so many, like, reps and mental reps, and you get the opportunity to play guys that, some of these people are going to showcases across the country, and they're doing it year-round. And so as a non-pitcher, it's not the end of the world. Like, I do think, diversification of sports is great, but if you're just a baseball guy, not to say there's anything wrong with just a baseball guy, but if you're just a baseball guy, pitching the amount of innings, like, if these people now are starting in the 4th and 5th grade, so if you pitch, 40 games for 10 years before you even get to a collegiate level, that's pretty tough too, to wear and tear on the body. But it's become a business. Like, it's the AAU circuit, the travel ball circuit, these 7-on-7s with
you worked
football.
in it.
Yeah, I mean,
all about it.
It's a business, and when you have the caliber of athletes that Alabama's producing, then you want to make sure you have the opportunities to get them showcased as much as possible. But it has become a business, and you have to approach it that way. A lot of times kids are forced to have to make a decision, especially if you're in a place like in Auburn. If you play multiple sports and you're talented enough to make it, that's great. But for the most part, in order to be able to be as good as some of these teams are, or to be able to play, you almost have to specialize. That goes against a lot of things that we talk about up here.
Good point.
But you kind of have to, if you're going to be on, if you're playing for an Auburn or a Bob Jones in baseball, like, you kind of go have to do something to be able to play. So a lot of intricacies to it, but I think people are doing it the right way. Arm injuries happen, obviously, but that's something I would like to talk about a little bit later. I did a little more research on it after you.
Well, it was Justin Verlander's rant, on arm injuries and velocity and expectations of velocity, and is it good for arms, and, the inability to have to go out there and try to muster up 6 or 7 innings, just not even expected anymore. And, I was actually thinking about this. My dad found this big box of old, like, trophies and stuff for when me and my brother were coming up, and he just like, congratulations, here it is. It's got all these cobwebs on it. I'm bringing it to you, Randy. You can either keep it or throw it upstairs at your office. And I was looking down through there, and there's, some baseballs where I'd pitched and win. And I'm thinking to myself that some of the scores are like 16-12. And I'm mentally going in my mind, I know I'm in the 4th grade. And I know we ain't got but about 2 pitchers on the whole squad on these City League teams. So I would be very interested to know how many pitches I threw in that 16-12 outing. Because back then, nobody kept any pitch count. You went in unless you said your arm was hurt, and you just kept pitching until you were so bad they had to pull you out. And at least there are some changes that have come through that. How much is it helping? Who knows? How much can the human body withhold? How many actual people should be getting velocity up to 100, 101, 102? I mean, that's not something that you saw even 10 years ago, and now it's a wild change out there. 256-234-6221. If you were out and about watching high school sports last night, we would love to hear from you and love to know how your teams did, whether area championships were won or you made the playoffs. Just a wonderful time of year, Scott. Love this time of year. Many of us that grow up in communities like you and I did here in Ellick City, I mean, we really work exceptionally hard for this 2 or 3 week period. Now, everybody, you can win a lot of championships, a lot of travel ball championships. You can get a lot of praise and get college scholarships and all of those things that we were all very fortunate to have. But it's for a 2 or 3 week span that you all come together in high school. And I think that's what makes high school sports that special. Because you can bounce around from one AAU team to one travel team, and you can be on 4 or 5 different ones, and all of that can be good for you. But it's still something special to come back with a group of guys or girls that you grew up with and go and try to do something special. And even if you don't do something special, I had this conversation with my son recently. Even if you don't do something special, at least you can go back and say, I know I couldn't have tried any harder. Now, I may not end up being the best player that the school ever had, but I know I couldn't have made any more of an effort than I did. And that is something special about high school sports, because those high school sports seasons may be the World Series for a lot of us. 99% of us, I would say that's the way things work out. So that's the reason you and I love it so much.
Yeah, and like when my high school buddies, we get together from time to time, and like those memories are embedded in your brain too, of just, whether it was a practice or something funny that happened in a game, or somebody had, booted 4 errors in a playoff game, or, winning 1-0 against one of the top teams in the country. Like, though, what high school sports does is provide you the opportunity, obviously, to play sports. That's given. But the relationship building, the networking that takes place, because a lot of times people who play sports usually go on to be successful in whatever profession they choose to go, because they learn how to work as a team and leadership and all those things that are embodied in a great sports team or program. And we see it today. And so it's just a lot of fun to reminisce and go back. Like, we're about to crazy. I'm close to approaching my 20-year high school reunion.
Wow.
And so it's funny to think back to some of those times.
256-234-6221. Go ahead and go to our first break here on the Saturday Sports Countdown. If you've been watching high school ball, we'd love to hear from you. Talk about superlatives, some athletes, some coaches or teams that we haven't hit on. We'd love to talk about them. 256-234-6221.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama, is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep us in mind. Why don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill and Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
If you're seeing the American cockroach, throw up the red flag. Ladybugs, throw up the red flag. Ants and swarming termites, throw up the red flag. And kudzu bugs, throw up the red flag. That's Red Flag Pest Control. So the caution is on. Call Red Flag Pest Control today.
I'm Scott Davis with Red Flag Pest Control. Call me today, 256-825-0430.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Hello, I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Scott, huge day for Auburn basketball yesterday. J.P. Pegues committing. That was a need position. Anyone that has kept up recently with the transfer portal and Auburn basketball and all of the concern by both Auburn and Alabama on exactly what's going to go on with their head coaches when a Kentucky position comes available. But Mark Pope accepts that Kentucky job, was a very good player for Kentucky during their championship run back in '96. I've heard a lot of stories around him, so what I thought was a very funny, bad hire, the more that I've looked into it, the more that he feels like a Kentucky guy that a lot of the old Kentucky heads accept and are not upset about it all. But back over to Auburn and their get with the point guard, J.P. Pegues, it was a much-needed get in the transfer portal.
Absolutely. The Furman transfer, averaging about 18 points a game, and somebody that it's not, just overly athletic, but understands, pace of play and how that fits into Bruce's system. And I think there were times, if you watched Auburn this year, where when we were bad, it's because we were playing out of sync and we were turning the ball over. So having somebody who can actually control the floor and the tempo of the game, I think, will be very important for Auburn. But with the names that we saw over the last week or so entering the portal from Auburn's side with Donaldson, we'll see what happens there. And obviously Aiden Holloway recently this week, getting someone in immediately was a pretty big, important priority.
Yeah, I think that getting Dylan Cardwell back kind of shores up maybe what your plans are, at least some of your plans at the 4 and the 5. Janai Broome, if you can close the deal there and get Janai back and maybe let him move over and play a little bit more of a 4 is what Jason Caldwell told both of us yesterday on the Auburn Blitz, and that gives Dylan an opportunity to play more minutes at the 5. Should be a really nice setup there, but Auburn looks to still have 2, maybe 3 spots available in the transfer portal. We talked about it yesterday, which ones or what's still a need position for Auburn. We said the guard, maybe one more 4 position player that can play a little bit of everything would be a good get for Auburn in the portal. And those type of players are out there, and I'm sure Bruce Pearl's after them.
Yeah, and, I think that the roster that's returning for Auburn puts them in a very good position to just plug and play, whereas years previously, we've kind of had to do major overhauls to get the roster how we wanted it. But speaking about Dylan Cardwell, 2 years ago, if you'd have told me that we would have been excited from a playing perspective, I think everybody loves him as a person and what he represents for the Auburn brand and Auburn man and all of those things. But as a player, I don't think I've ever seen someone just progress in the way that he has and really become a contributor to the team. I used to call him kind of not a mascot. He wasn't one of those, but he was kind of a novelty guy. And so he would come in, get the crowd hype. If he fouled 2 or 3 times, it was fine. He gets 3 rebounds. But he really, midway through the season, really became somebody from a defensive standpoint, and when you needed some just minutes out there to give some guys some breaks, he was a contributor and was no longer a liability. So I'm very excited to see him come back, one of the best Auburn ambassadors that we've had in quite some time, and so excited for him to see where his journey continues.
Well, you must have, and I'm not sure he's even got the frame that you need to win a championship, but you must have a big that's got some thickness to him to be able to battle with the Zach Edey's of the world and the Klingons of the world. And that was the eye-opening part of this NCAA run to me. We've always said that it's been outside play. It's been guard-oriented. When you get to the tournament, you've got to have top-tier guards. Well, this year, yeah, you needed top-tier guards. You needed a little bit of everything. But you also need somebody that can just man up to what you see down in the post. And I don't know if that's something we're going to see a little bit more of, but it sure felt like it. And it sure feels like Connecticut has embraced that. And, of course, Purdue's always embraced that. But if that's what ends up winning championships, we may see more post-play coming back into the game, Scott.
Yeah, and I can't remember if I was reading something or listening to somebody, an analyst, but saying that the game from the NBA side is actually starting to shift more to, like, you kind of do have to have a big, and obviously, guard play still will be what it is, but starting to see more of your 7-footers and really working things through the post. So I like that style. I mean, that I like where we are now with basketball, but I don't want to see somebody just throw it in down low 25 times a game. But if you've got somebody like that, it's hard not to do it when you got Zach Edey down there. But the flow of the game is changing, and because we're starting to see more European players become integrated into the NBA, we're starting to see kind of some really positionless basketball, and so that's really allowing people to really play the way that they like to.
Here's the updated potential Auburn roster for 2024-2025 as J.P. Pegues commits from Furman yesterday in the transfer portal. That would be Pegues, who will be a senior, already played 3 years. Jones, a senior. Pettiford coming in as a freshman. Those are your 3 guards on the wings. Baker Mazara is a senior. Moore is a senior. And Howard coming in as a freshman. Your forward centers, Johnson, senior. Broom, potentially, if you can get Janai Broom back as a senior. Cardwell is a senior. And Scott's a senior. Open scholarships looks like 3, so biggest portal needs maybe. With 8 seniors, that would be 2 freshmen on the squad. You've got some opportunities to go out there and get, I think, 2 or 3 more guys. And so that's the beauty of basketball. If you like it right now, I mean, you can go out there and just like John Calipari said this week, Arkansas doesn't have a team. I went and met with the team. You don't have a team. So what does that mean? You got to go out there and try to land some people and shore up some spots. And I think that Auburn at least has got an opportunity to go get a couple of more pieces.
Yeah, and, I think there's a different style of recruiting that has to take place in order when you're dealing with portal guys, because a lot of times these are established guys and you're trying to get in people to fill a need. And so it's a different type of recruiting pitch. And I think Bruce has done a great job over the last 3 or 4 years in doing so. And a lot of, I had a conversation with somebody. They were giving Auburn a hard time about where their recruiting rankings were, but when you only have 3 to 4 spots, maybe 5 in a class, like that's a lot really nowadays. But if you only got 3 or 4, you're probably not
going to have a great rating.
You're not going to have one. So it's not about that. Has changed, not necessarily in football and basketball. I don't think you can – the rankings matter to an extent if you're a Kentucky, maybe not anymore, but some of your blue bloods traditional where they're getting in these high school guys. But a lot of these teams around the country really are just building their roster 1 or 2 freshmen, and then the rest are transfer portal guys.
Be very interesting to see if Trey Donaldson ends up back at Auburn. Aiden Holloway also entering the portal. I don't see him coming back, especially now that J.P. Pegues has committed to Auburn. But I wouldn't be surprised if Trey Donaldson, and you said it yesterday, you would maybe like to see that.
Yeah, I mean, if I would have loved to have seen Aiden work out, but of the two, I'd be more concerned if Trey Donaldson ended up officially leaving. I thought that his ceiling may not be as high, but his floor is higher than Aiden's, and so he had spurts this season where he was really good, and you could see where he could really be a piece that could get us to the next level. But if it is concrete that he's gone, then Auburn probably does try to go get another guard.
256-234-6221 is our phone number. Go ahead and take another break. When we come back, continue down any path that you would like. Go ahead and give us a call.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed, and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need. With top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill. And our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
There's a new standard for the marine industry on Lake Martin, being set by Momentum Marine Lake Martin. Momentum Marine is located at the Blue Creek Bridge on Highway 49 South. Stop by soon and meet Les and the staff. While you're here, take a look at our extensive line of boats. Momentum Marine carries Crest, Manitou, Centurion, Monterey, and Robalo boats. Whatever your boating needs or dreams, the pros in Momentum will help you find the perfect boat. Be sure to ask about our brand new rental fleet. Stop by Momentum soon and experience the difference. Let Momentum Marine show you how to experience freedom on the water.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Spring football ending up, got Alabama getting theirs going today, Scott. Auburn finished up this past weekend. I don't think there's anywhere near as many question marks around Alabama when it comes to the quarterback position as Auburn. So, but let's talk about both real quick. I guess with Alabama, and we'll catch up with Luke Robinson, just the overall look of the team with the new coach would be, I think, what the Alabama faithful is looking for. I mean, you're not going to show much, probably not going to see a lot of what this offense could be. But I think you can tell if the team is motivated and the fan base is motivated around this new coach because, hey, it's been a long time since they've had to worry about who's in charge and do they trust who's in charge. So all of those things will be interesting today in spring game.
Yeah, and I've really been thinking about it lately about what an expectation of success is for DeBoer. Like, you obviously understand that, you know, it's not Saban, so you can't hold him to that level of success, but that's where the program currently is. So if there's any drop-off, then you're back kind of in the 9-10 win game, and that's not what Alabama fans have become accustomed to. But as it relates to the day, I'm with you. I think this just really a way to kind of get people to see what they're about, how they're structured, kind of how people are responsive to the coaches and to the team. But talent-wise and roster-wise, he's inherited enough that they should be successful pretty early on.
Definitely should. And Auburn finishes up this past weekend. We see Cam Coleman. We see the exploits that hopefully he brings. Got a number of other receivers, and with Malcolm Simmons and Perry Thompson that are heading in. And so does the full roster of receivers that Auburn currently has. Will all of them be there once the transfer portal starts up next week will be a question mark. But, you know, I think we saw a lot. Peyton Thorne was 9 of 13 passing, 130-plus yards. Cam Coleman had 90-plus yards and receptions. Scott, it was what you'd hope to see, maybe a progression at the quarterback. And you've been very pro Peyton Thorne even all through last year. You know, give him some targets and some people to throw to, and you felt like he could get it done. And it does feel like Auburn's leaning in that direction and not leaning towards needing to go find someone else in the portal.
Yeah, and no, it does help to have people to throw it to. And when you've got the class that Auburn has coming in, especially with Cam Coleman, I mean, you could see he just looked the part. And so we haven't had one of those guys in a while either, where you just looked over and said, all right, that's what we've been missing. And so I think Auburn has a tremendous opportunity to take a leap offensively year two, especially with what they have on the offensive line. And but again, when you haven't really had much success, getting a taste of it is, and keeping it is going to be a little bit tougher than what it has been. But the same conversation that we're saying about Alabama and what the expectation is, I have a, you know, he's not getting fired or anything, you know, if he doesn't do well this year. But, like, there's some heartburn being caused just on the anxiety of what may happen if we come out there and put out a 7-5 record again. It's like, all right, you know, because of the transfer portal and because of the amount of resources that are being put into these programs, the timetable or window for success is getting smaller and smaller for people's leash that they're willing to give you. So obviously I don't think that we have anything to worry about with Hugh Freeze, but it is something to look at. Like, what's the expectation as Auburn heads into year two?
Well, I keep saying it, and some don't like it, but I've got muted expectations, and I'm perfectly good with it. You know, I'm very pro on what Hugh Freeze is doing in the recruiting, on the recruiting front, especially in high schools here in the state of Alabama. Haven't heard a buzz around a high school or a coach there at Auburn in the high school ranks here in the state of Alabama any more than I have with Hugh Freeze in quite some time. And look, Gus Malzahn did a good job of recruiting at Auburn. He probably averaged somewhere between 8 and 12. In recruiting. He had classes a little bit higher than that at times, but for the most part, he never dipped below 15. So I was proud of the effort. I think Hugh Freeze is a step up from that. I really think he's getting after it. I think he's a dynamic salesperson, a great marketer to the kids, does all that you need to do there. So the question for the Auburn faithful, and you and I are two of them, is what do you expect? I mean, we all have high expectations. We all would like, but it's really the first true class that he's had to come through. And do you really think Cam Coleman and Malcolm and Perry Thompson and the rest of those guys are going to be able to change the dynamic of SEC football in year one? No. I do think they'll make a splash. I think they're all special talents. But I think we've got to really mute expectations a little bit at Auburn. Unfortunately, we get caught up, and we have writers around the SEC and around the country that want to say, Auburn's a dark horse to win the SEC championship and play in the playoff. And, man, you want to go, who wrote that? And because then the moment that we're nowhere near that level, everyone's going, well, I thought earlier in the year y'all said we were going. No, I mean, and you've said that over the years a lot. I mean, you really do have to give these coaches an opportunity if they're showing the effort. Now, if they're Brian Harsin and we're up here blasting him like we did, it was deserved. You know, when we went around the state of Alabama, and we had the good fortune of doing that, broadcasting like we do, Scott, and doing what we do with AHSAA, you know whether coaches are really making an effort in and out of these high schools. And I'm telling you, Auburn's making an effort, and Hugh Freeze is making an effort. And I appreciate the effort because I do think it will parlay into wins sooner than later.
And I agree, and I think that Auburn for so long has been trying to do things in a way to stay competitive with Alabama. And so with Saban gone, is there
Yes.
more pressure now, I think, with him gone
Yes.
to succeed? So that's what I'm saying. So
there is for me.
Yeah.
Now, do I want it to happen next year? No, I don't. I mean, I don't think our rosters match one another. And every year, the circuit puts out, here's how many 4- and 5-star athletes are on each of these teams in the 85-man roster. And you can look down, you can tell Auburn, even if you're just going off those measurables there, that we don't match up. And then really look and see who we're putting in the NFL in comparison to who these other programs are putting in. We haven't had Bo to Joe talent. I mean, we have had apples to oranges over the years, and we've tried to make do with it. And a lot of times, especially when we get them at Jordan-Hare, miraculously enough, we do make do with it, and we play them off their feet. Should have won the game last year, should have won it a couple of years ago when we have them at Jordan-Hare. So, man, once we get really some players that match what Georgia and Alabama has, I think we'll have more of an opportunity. But it's going to be a little while, and I do think that Hugh Freeze is doing the best job of anyone that we could get right now when it comes to trying to go get those type of athletes.
I agree, and I don't think that Hugh Freeze is, he's my guy, but I don't think he's just a world-beater coach. But what he is great at is marketing and getting players in. So if you build the appropriate staff around him, I think he's an offensive-minded guy, and I think he understands that. But just generally just constructing a staff, if we have the right staff, I think Auburn's going to be fine long-term because he's going to get the guys in. So it won't be that we won't have talent. That won't ever be an issue anymore. It's what's going to happen once they get here. And so that was kind of the knock on Malzahn at times is we underdeveloped some guys and we brought in top-tier guys that never produced. Like our top-tier guys would transfer out or falter where they go somewhere else and they're good, and we would make jokes about that. But I don't think that that's going to be an issue moving forward. So if the talent's there and the staff is there, then you expect to have success. And so for me, I'm looking at next year or, in the fall, if it's in the 7 to 8 win range.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
As long as it's not the way it's been where when we travel to Tuscaloosa or we travel where we're going, we get beat by 3 touchdowns. Like that those days have to stop at some point, or we're never that's going to let me know that we're not really there yet. So you couldn't really evaluate him until probably year 3.
Year 3, you've got to start evaluating.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but by that and the schedule sets up for you to be successful that year. You don't really have any excuses at that point. Not when you've got the availability of the transfer portal and the availability to go out there, and if you don't trust the quarterback that you've got, which is the key piece to all of these teams, you can go out there and get you one. Auburn fan base, the Auburn boosters will make sure that you've got what you need to go out there and be competitive on that front. You've been able to go get your guys in coaching. He's got Derek Nix coming in. I think everybody's excited about Coach Nix. He's been with him a long time, brings great recruiting to Auburn. Not that we didn't have great recruiting, but it's great recruiting around the field that Hugh Freeze wants. He's a Hugh Freeze guy. So, and you can keep going down the list. So hopefully he gets the staff in that he's comfortable with, and it means wins for Auburn. Maybe not next year. I think we're going to be good enough to get 7 or 8 every year. I think anything below that is unacceptable. Anything below, because you got 3 or 4 just cupcakes on the schedule, and then there's some teams in the SEC that Auburn should beat unless we're just on a down cycle. So 7, 8 wins, but I'm going to be perfectly good with that. And if we go and we lose by a couple of touchdowns to the best programs, I'm still good with that. But by year 3, you've got to really point to that, Scott. And I think you got to determine very quickly if you think some of these younger quarterbacks we have are the answer. Because if they're not, that's the biggest thing going on. I mean, do we have somebody we think we can have lead us for a 3 or 4 year march where we really take this thing to the next level? I don't know. Maybe Walker White's that guy. Who knows? But you got to determine very quickly who that is, or either go get you one.
Yeah, and the days of now there are superior talents where you have guys come in and they play as a freshman and they carry it out. But I think that teams, the transfer portal at the quarterback, and using the quarterback position with the portal, I think will be more and more deadly moving forward, because you have a second or third string guy somewhere else who is highly touted, just couldn't get in front of a Jay.
Beat out a great one, yeah.
Like, it's tough to do that. That doesn't mean they weren't good. It's just poor timing. All right, you come on over here, and you're the missing piece. And we talked about Cam yesterday in 2010 and like plugging him into a roster that was ready to win. Now just needed the right quarterback to lead the team. I don't think Auburn's ready to win right now, but if you can develop this class that you just had and you bring in another class on top of that, including the portal, then I think that you start being able to plug and play in areas of need, and then that really puts you in a competitive advantage. But, I mean, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and maybe you could say Texas. So not maybe, Texas. So those 4 teams, all right, they're better than Auburn.
Yep.
They're better. But everybody else, on any given day, I mean, even with LSU, I think we're there.
And we can beat all 4 of them at home.
Yeah.
That's the thing about Auburn. Auburn can beat all 4 of them consistently if we're anywhere near talent level at home. Now, to get to championship level, we got to be able to go on the road from time to time and beat a Georgia or Alabama, and we're not there yet. It's been a long time since we've done that. And I can assure you it's going to be the same case when we go on the road to play Texas, and it's been that way at LSU for the last 25 or 30 years. I mean, we've only beat them once since '99 there on the road. So it can happen, but we've got to get a little bit better. But we can beat all of them at home, and that's not this year. That's the following year. The schedule lines up. So we're building, I'm hoping, towards that. And I know Hugh Freeze, that's all we can do. That's all we can ask for. We said it for 2 years with Brian Harsin. All I ask is make an effort recruiting. Show Auburn that you think Auburn can be what we all think Auburn can be, which is a consistent top 15, top 10 program. And once you get it there, we all got to be reasonable on our expectations at that point. But we'd like to get it there, and I think Hugh Freeze is well on his way. 256-234-6221. If you're out watching high school baseball, high school softball, I know is getting in the thick of it. We'd love to hear from you. Scores, we said earlier in the opening segment, Central Phoenix City was ranked the #1 team in the country this week by Max Preps. Maybe we've had that happen here in the state of Alabama before, but I can assure you it hasn't been very often. But Auburn High School didn't care last night. Auburn High School wins 2 of 3 this week against Phoenix City, dropping the first game and then winning a doubleheader last night. If I saw it correctly, a walk-off fashion 2-run bomb to close the game out last night after a 7-4 or 8-5 win there in the first game. So congratulations, Coach Simo, in his 32nd year, picking up a massive win for Auburn High, and looks like this playoff run in baseball here in the state of Alabama is going to be as fun as it always is. So give us a phone call. Let us know how some other games went. It's not as easy as high school football on a Saturday morning. We can run down some scores from Ron Ingram throughout the state. There's not one single outlet to be able to pull those in. So let us know, 256-234-6221.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, maybe even ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. That's when I found this, the Sportz Night Guard. Now, the Sportz Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Sportz Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Go to BruxNightGuard.com and order yours today.
There's only one option for top-of-the-line aftermarket upgrades on your vehicle, and that's Frontline Outfitters. We offer quality parts, lift kits, custom wheels and tires, bed covers, step bars, and toolboxes. They're installed by trained and skilled professionals, to custom powder coating with hundreds of colors and finishes, to the highest quality film for window tinting using state-of-the-art film cutting technology. Call Frontline Outfitters at 256-409-8100. Don't be in the back of the line. Put your vehicle at the front with Frontline Outfitters.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Got our good friend Luke Robinson on the phone with us. And Luke, it's a big day. Alabama football post Nick Saban kind of starts today with the spring game going on. I guess just get us started there. As Alabama fans, what are you expecting to see?
Yeah, everybody's really excited. It's going to be a big day. Sorry, I got a lot of commotion going on over here. You know, when you're getting ready for a 7-year-old soccer game, everybody's got to get in soccer mode, and that means get all your snacks and get all your dogs upstairs and do all that stuff. But, yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'm hoping to go. I'm not 100% yet, but that's kind of the beauty of A-Day, right? You don't have to make a commitment early in the week that you're going to go to the game. You can just sort of decide at the last second. But it should be a lot of fun regardless. I'm not sure I love the new way they're going to run it. I'm reserving judgment. It's going to be just offense versus defense. Now, you say, what's different about that? Isn't that the same way every time? Yeah, but there's really no teams necessarily. So I don't even know that ESPN's going to love this all too terribly much. So I'm excited to see if it's going to be exciting or if it's going to be pretty meh.
Well, you know, talk about that. You know, it's very tough to replace, of course, Nick Saban. And these games, as much as you want to make them be fun and kids enjoy it and fans like to come out, I mean, what Nick Saban did getting 90,000 plus in the stadium to watch a spring game will never happen again. I mean, let's be honest, none of us really truly care to watch what is a glorified scrimmage for the most part. So got to be even tougher for this to be the first time many of the Alabama faithful sees the new coach on the sidelines kind of leading.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will show up just to have that different feel, and it has been a different feel around the university, not necessarily in a good or bad way, anything like that. I mean, you can't say anything bad about Nick Saban's tenure, right, if you're an Alabama fan at least. So it's not that anybody is wanting to go there to feel the same type of renewal that they felt when Saban did the spring game, but I think people may just want to go because it will be a little bit looser this time, and it should be a little bit, I don't know, maybe more fan-friendly. The first one was very fan-friendly because Alabama was just so excited to feel like they had somebody that could win football games. But from that point forward, all of them were pretty regimented, just like he is. And again, there's a big positive to that. And DeBoer is not necessarily that way. I mean, he's still regimented, but he's not rigid. So I think there'll be a lot of people excited to go just to see what kind of atmosphere it will be.
Players that have really made a splash here in the spring, Luke. The quarterback's pretty well set, but talk about the rest of the roster.
Well, I think the one that everybody's really excited to see is offensive line, to make sure that they're going to be pretty good this year, because that was a big problem last season. But here's the issue. You've got Parker Brailsford, who won't be participating today. He's still on the roster, but it's been rather iffy. It's really hard to say exactly what the issue has been there. But he won't be participating today. There's a couple other guys that have injuries, and so they won't be participating today. And so, you could only have about 10 offensive linemen out there. And if that's the case, maybe you do have to set up a scrimmage this way. I think one of the most anticipated player today is going to be Justice Haynes. That's somebody that everybody wanted to get more and more touches last year, and it just never seemed to come to fruition until the Michigan game. And he had a good game, but he didn't even get enough touches in my opinion. But I think also wide receiver is going to be something everybody's going to look at. And obviously everybody's always going to look at defense. But obviously quarterback, too, with Jalen Milroe. Is he going to fit in this system? I think he can. But there are a lot of people out there that have been to other scrimmages that I hadn't been to that have been to scrimmages that I haven't been to that say Tom Milroe is going to be better. So he fits better into this system. So let's just see how it goes.
Luke, final question for you. We'll just roll over real quick to Alabama basketball. I think both of us here in the state of Alabama thrilled Mark Pope was announced as the head coach at Kentucky. I don't know how much to buy into whether Nate Oates was even contacted by Kentucky, but can you give a little rundown on Nate Oates, what a great job he's done at Alabama, and Kentucky going after Mark Pope?
Well, first of all, I think Kentucky would have been better off hiring an actual Pope because they're going to need the prayers now. That's going to be a problem. I mean, look, Mark Pope did a good job at BYU, but he never won a first-round game in the NCAA tournament, and that's the reason they were firing John Calipari, who recruited much better. So I think that was a complete cluster, and I feel like their athletic director just did an absolutely terrible job, frankly. I would have thrown everything I could if I were anybody else at Nate Oates. But I think Nate Oates really loves where he is at Alabama. I truly believe that. I believe Kentucky through back channels probably did contact him, and I think that he made it be known, hey, Alabama's giving me what I want. I mean, it didn't come without a price. I mean, I think Alabama's going to, have to guarantee a new practice facility and probably a little more money and some more job security, things like that. But I think Alabama's happy to do that. But then you go to Danny Hurley. Look, if you're Kentucky, you're a fool not to throw money at Danny Hurley too, right? And they did, allegedly. And Danny Hurley's sort of in the same boat as Nate Oates. He's like, I'm winning all I can win here. I love it here. My wife loves it here. My family loves it here. So why should I do something different when I'm going to have the same kind of success? And then you get to somebody like Billy Donovan. Well, I mean, he's in his NBA play-in game this week, probably. So, I mean, do you want to wait that long and let other recruits get out of here? What I can't believe, and really, I'm not saying this as an Alabama fan. I'm saying this if I were an athletic director. If I had gone down my list like the guys that I've mentioned, and Scott Drew, by the way, who also turned them down, and whose family just said, I love Waco, Texas. I just want to be in Waco. And some people, I know it's hard to believe, aren't motivated completely by money. When you're making $4 million a year and somebody offers you $6 million a year to go somewhere you don't want to go, I mean, the $4 million sounds pretty good. So I think that I'd gotten to that point, and I had missed on some guys that I thought were younger, maybe more established, had won championships or whatever. my first call would have been to Bruce Pearl, even at 64. I would have said, hey, we need energy, and we need a rah-rah guy who can circle the wagons of this fan base. And it's like they didn't even contact him. Maybe they felt like he would have stayed at Auburn and turned them down too. I don't know. Or maybe they tried to contact him and he turned them down. That's possible. But I would have made him turn it down. I would have gone full blazes after that. Let me tell you, I would have had a several other dudes before I got to Mark Pope. I can tell you that.
Well, Luke, hopefully it works out the exact way you said it. And if that happens, Auburn and Alabama is just going to continue this run. I don't see any end in sight with the players, the availability in the transfer portal. Was really surprised to see Rylan Griffin get into the transfer portal. Maybe he ends up back at Alabama. Maybe that's my last question. Any update on him? Because he is such a perfect fit for Nate Oates' system to me.
I think he is too. I hate to see him go, but I mean, that's the nature of the beast now. That's just the way it's going to be. And everybody, you're never going to have a team that you can just bring back like you used to and say, oh, we got a great run coming. Every year is going to be something new. And I think that I would love to have Rylan Griffin back. I think he's a fantastic player, but obviously he's got family in Texas. I think they want him to be closer to Texas, and I think that they probably are looking at this like, hey, he's the fourth leading scorer in Alabama. Maybe he can be the second leading scorer at Texas or Houston or whatever. So more power to him. I hate to see him go, but sometimes it isn't always the kid's choice. I'm not saying that's necessarily the case in this particular instance. Could be, but I think that he'll land on his feet wherever he goes. He's a really, really good kid, so I'm going to wish him the best.
Well, good luck, soccer. I'm heading to a soccer field right after this one, and you and I will have a full day of it, it looks like. And so good luck, Luke, and look forward to talking to you next week.
Yeah, superstars to the top. See you later.
See you, buddy. 256-234-6221 is our phone number. Top of the hour break here. We got one more hour with you on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
It's truck season at Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika. Check out the powerful full-size and fully loaded Chevrolet Silverado LTZ. Discounted up to $13,000 off. Or the roomy midsize 3-row SUV Chevy Traverse. Discounted up to $6,750 off. And the perfect size Chevy Equinox up to $8,500 off. No payments until the end of summer. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City. Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry?
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care open 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling. Tony Sarah Ford has your answer. serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Ford and pre-owned inventories in the state and the Sarah Promise. Right now, valued customers receive up to $4,000 on select 2023 F-150 trucks plus 1.9% APR, or a new Bronco Sport for $393 a month plus $750 bonus cash. Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Tony Sarah Ford in Sylacauga.
Did have an update come through. My good friend Jamie Hare giving an update on Auburn High School and Phoenix City last night. We've talked about that because we saw those scores come across, and with Phoenix City ranked #1 in the country, not only #1 in 7A, but they were ranked #1 by Max Preps this week, and we're off to a 27-1 or a 28-1 start on the season, but played a doubleheader at Auburn yesterday, and Auburn signee Tanner Waldrop was the one that hit the 2-run walk-off home run to win the second game. Also hit a grand slam home run in the first game. Auburn's got a Mississippi State signee and also an Auburn signee there, and Tanner Waldrop. And that's how much talent's out there on the field when those two are matching up, Scott. I mean, it's not like you feel sorry. You don't feel sorry for Auburn. I mean, they got multiple SEC scholarship, commitments playing on their side too. But Coach Semo and that crew, are excited about the way that one turned out.
Yeah, and as we were alluding to earlier in the show, when you're in that close proximity to each other, these guys have been playing with or against each other pretty much their whole lives, so that there's built-in competition or rivalry there anyway. So to win in that fashion, regardless of #1 team in the country, whatever, like they know these guys.
Yeah.
They know them. So, you when you can do that, it means something. But similar to football, excuse me, similar to basketball, I guess football too, but similar to basketball, where Auburn took care of business in the regular season, or
Yep.
taken care of in the area championship. Now
Sure
they'll
did.
more than likely have an opportunity to see each other again. What happens when they see each other in the
And
playoffs.
that's it's been vice versa, in basketball. I think the last couple of years in basketball, Auburn has won the regular season area championship, and then Phoenix City's knocked them out in the playoffs. So still plenty of opportunities for both teams to get through and to make a playoff run. And that's the beauty of high school baseball for me. When we were coming through, you didn't have that, which is, and I'll go to a story here that pops
We'd like
in my
to hear
mind.
the story.
Well, I mean, when we were coming through, you had only a one and done the first 3 rounds. So once you got to the semifinals, you got to a best 2 out of 3, which honestly I feel like is the best way to determine who the best teams are, because you may match up with a single arm on the other side that can stick with you, but if they have to go 2, 3, 4, 5 arms deep, they won't. But the story I was going to say was how unbelievable what Vestavia pulled off during that stretch. I mean, Vestavia won 9 state championships in concession during a stretch, Scott, where the first 3 rounds, if you had one guy go out there and not throw it well, then you lose a series. And I think that's even more of how great that run was under Sammy Dunn than really anything that you can say, because baseball is not a single game series. It's not a basketball tournament. It's in order to determine who the best team is, you need to be able to go through multiple pitchers and go through the bullpen and see who's deepest and see who's strongest. But Vestavia didn't have that opportunity back in the 90s, and they still won all of those championships. Amazing runs. Scott, think about that. Think about how many baseball games you played in that y'all sent a starting pitcher out there, and for whatever reason, he just didn't have his best stuff. And then you look up, and you're down 5-0. Look at Auburn right now, Auburn University. Same problem. I mean, Auburn goes out there in the first inning, and they're 2, 3, 4 runs down before the game's even started, and then you're playing catch-up all the time. Well, a lot of times you can't catch up, no matter how well you play or no matter who comes in and tries to clean it up at the end. And that's an amazing feat they pulled off.
Would y'all – so Benjamin Russell, you were in high school at this time where, fell victim to that format of play. Could y'all have beaten them back if you'd had a 3-game series? Do y'all think you could have
Vestavia?
Yeah.
I don't know. The problem with Vestavia is Did you ever watch them back in that stretch?
I just know of them. I don't really.
All right, I'm going to compare them, especially in the infield, to Kentucky right now. You know, Kentucky, I don't think Kentucky's that talented. Do you? When you watch Kentucky, they're okay. They don't swing the bat. They don't have a lot of power. But their two middle infielders are out of this world. They have one error between the shortstop and second baseman for Kentucky all year. Let that sink in. I mean, how many games are we into this season? One error all year? Do you know how many times you touch the ball? How many times you're the relay man? How many times you have an opportunity to make an error in the middle infield and I'm going somewhere? Vestavia was a machine during that stretch. Everyone would like to say, and yeah, we had a team that was ranked ahead of them several times while we were there going into the playoffs. We never won a state championship, so I can't make an excuse to say one way or another. I would like to have the opportunity to be in a best 2 out of 3 with them. I do think from a talent standpoint, I know we matched them. But they were a machine, and Sammy Dunn coached them as well as anybody's ever coached any sport in this state ever. And when you watched them warm up, you knew, oh boy, somebody's going to have to do something good here today if we're going to beat this crew. And you always had that feel. And they had probably the best high school pitcher that's ever, Josh Hancock, that's ever been through this state. I think he won 28. I made a post here recently on the AHSAA. He won 28 consecutive games as a starting pitcher. I think he was 34-1 during his career as a starting pitcher at Vestavia. Unfortunate death. Major League Baseball pitcher, was outstanding there as well, but an unbelievable high school pitcher. So if you matched up with them in a one-game series, probably not. Not unless your guy is going to go out there and keep them under 2. And you may be able to sneak a couple of runs across against him. Now, multi-game series, a lot better opportunities there. So good question, but it is the better storyline's not do you think you could, it's that they did. And they pulled it off for 9 consecutive years. So I tell you what, we'll go ahead, Reed. Let's go ahead and take another break. When we come back, we'll go to the phone lines. I think we got a couple of calls coming through, and we'll do that on the other side. More of the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
When driving, wear a seatbelt, not a filter. What? Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Dixie Electric Plumbing and Air has teamed up for the 4th year with the Food Bank of East Alabama and Montgomery Area Food Bank in an effort to reduce the high percentage of food insecurity within the Montgomery and Auburn communities. For every new Dixie Cares Plan membership that is purchased, Dixie will be donating 7 meals to partnered food banks. Last year alone, Dixie donated 13,356 meals. Our goal for 2024 is 15,000. Thank you for choosing Dixie.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumberyard, price match promise, and our best rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Gorey at Gorey's Furniture. Come join us for the madness of March. Come join us here at Gorey's Furniture. Make a purchase, shoot from the line, 5, 10 to 15. That's % discount off your total ticket. So come join us. Let's have some fun. Everyone's a winner. Everyone will save. Come join us for the Madness of March, and that's only at Gorey's Furniture.
When driving, stay sober, not stoned. Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Beautiful spring morning out there. We hope that you're around either some outdoors adventures that are going on, or you're on a soccer pitch like Luke Robinson and I are heading to today. I will be on one all day, I think, as my daughter's playing. But Brett Pritchard, where are you is the best question, because I think many of us would like to be where you are, just overhearing some of the conversations going on.
Man, it's beautiful outside. Doesn't matter where you are. I'm up on Lake Wilson in Pickwick the next couple of days fishing for some smallmouth, man. It's a really, really pretty day out here, and there's a lot of people out, but you would expect it. The wind has been blowing terrible for the last couple of weeks, so got the nasty weather out of the way and set up for a good rest of the weekend, so we're hoping to catch some really good fish over the next couple of days.
Brett, talk about real quick, since we segued into fishing, talk quickly about high school fishing coming down to the end there. I mean, when will those championships happen? And I know that we've got some teams here locally that are always involved in championship runs.
Absolutely. You know, Benjamin Russell's in first in the state right now, their varsity team. And I'm looking at the dam that backs up to the lake they're going to be fishing the state championship to, Wheeler Lake. I'm just right on the other side of the dam from it right now. And I'm telling you, man, they'll fish that lake in about 5 weeks, I believe. I think it's 5 weeks from today. They'll come up here. So Benjamin Russell's sitting in really good shape in the state, and the points got a pretty good lead over the team that's in second. So they got a good shot this year of winning a state championship. You know, they won a state championship a few years ago on Gunnersville. The last few years, they finished in the top 5. The junior team has won it the last 3 years. They're going for a four-peat this year in state championships. So, you know, my daughter was on that team last year that won the state championship on Neely Henry. I think it was Neely Henry. I can't remember right off the top of my head even where it was right now. But anyway, had a really good finish, and so yeah, it's coming down the stretch, and that's for the AHSAA BFA side. Josh Williams, our coach at Benjamin Russell, is head of that association now, and does a tremendous job. You know, you and I bragged on Josh a bunch. He's a tremendous guy and runs a class organization with AHSAA BFA. So yeah, we're in good shape as a team, and looking forward to see how it kind of finishes up.
Brett, it's spring sports season in high school, and just give you a quick second to talk about all that we have going on with the AHSAA Radio Network. We've got a lot of moving parts that are going on. I guess one of the biggest storylines this week was Alvin Briggs announcing his retirement, and so we want to wish Alvin, I'll give you an opportunity right here just to quickly talk about that and some of the things that we got going on with AHSAA.
Yeah, a lot going on. Looking forward to, you know, many more years. You know, we signed a contract a couple of years ago for an extension through the year 2030. So we got a lot of fun years ahead of us, and hopefully many more beyond that. But yeah, Alvin Briggs decides to retire starting in September, and yeah, it was a little shock to all of us. I don't think you and I definitely didn't see it coming, and I think a lot of people were that way across the state. But you know, it's like anything else. You know, when you get the feeling that it's time to move on in anything in life, you need to listen to what your heart and your brain are telling you. It's probably right. And so Alvin's done a lot of service to this state. He was a great football player at Auburn.
You mentioned his career with the Dallas Cowboys and then coming back and being a high school coach in the state and then moving on to be the executive director. Just a great man. Appreciate everything he's done for us in high school athletics and continuing to give us an opportunity, to run the network for the state. So we wish him nothing but the best. I know he'll enjoy retirement. I'm sure I'll get phone calls now. He's been wanting to go fishing for a while. He just can't ever find time. But so I'm sure my phone will definitely ring now that he's going to have a little bit of extra time.
Well, he is calling the right person is all that I'm saying right there is you're out there in beautiful weather today. Brett, let's spin over, talk some college football, talk some college athletics in general. I don't even want to start with a negative side for baseball, so let's go over to spring football. Really good Saturday, this past Saturday. Hopefully saw some things progressing in a positive direction for Auburn.
Yeah, I think so. I think you start with, on offense, the wide receiver core. I think Auburn showed with Cam Coleman, obviously, but several other guys had a good day. And then you got the addition of Perry Thompson and Malcolm Simmons and, of course, Bryce Kane already being there. I think Auburn's going to have an opportunity to have a strength at wide receiver if Peyton Thorne can get settled in this offense and do the things that they expect him to do. Running back room's full of great players. I think, you look at it from the standpoint of, Damari Austin. I really like that kid. I think he's going to break out this year. I think Jeremiah Cobb's going to have a good year. But then you got Jarquez Hunter and Brian Bettee back there as well. So Auburn's really good, and I think we're going to be able to run the ball with this offensive line. If Peyton Thorne can be a threat to throw it, that's really going to help this run game for Auburn. And on the defensive side, a bunch of young names, but a bunch of really talented guys on that defense. They're going to have to cut their teeth in a very tough league, but I'd like to grow. I like to grow with 4- and 5-star guys on the defensive side. You got to have the players. They're going to have to get through some mistakes and stuff. But I like our linebacking core, Robert Woodyard and Eugene Asante, and the new guys, Joe Phillips and DJ Barber, all played well in the spring game. The secondary with Keontae Scott and Jaron Thompson coming over from Texas, I think Jaron Thompson's going to be a big boost to this Auburn secondary. And then you got a kid like Malik Blockton on the defensive front to go with Falk, who played last year. And then the addition, I think Jason Jones has really stepped his game up. Big guy inside to transfer from Oregon. So, Auburn's got some pieces. And, you and I have talked about the recruiting for this staff with Hugh Freeze and this staff just getting after it. And they right now they got the number 7 class in the country in 25. They're going to continue to build on that, and I think the future is really, really bright. It's going to be a tough schedule this year, but I think Auburn, if they can put some consistency together on offense and they can learn and get better as the weeks go on defense, it can be a pretty good football team by the end of the season.
Brett, let's stick with football real quick, and Scott and I will talk about this on the upcoming segment. But Cam Newton on podcast, Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay, this week. A lot of bits and pieces of that podcast have been pushed out on social media, and I guess there's a 25-minute segment where Cam's talking about his 2010 and all that went down with the supposed money that he and his family received. And I know you've watched. I know you've got an opinion on it. Jump in there right now. Let us know your thoughts.
I'm just glad Cam was able to sit down and kind of open up about it. It kind of makes you feel sad as a father what Cecil Newton had to go through and how he was villainized during this whole thing. I think a lot of people felt like Cecil Newton was dirty and undercut his kid, and sold his kid out, and it was right the opposite of that, man. It was one of those deals where he fell on the sword for his son so he could continue to be eligible, and then to be able to make it and navigate through that season with so many people attacking him and that team and, trying to tear that team down is really amazing that they were able to keep their heads down and concentrate. And I know for everything Gene Chizik is, we've criticized Gene Chizik for kind of losing the team in 11 and 12, but he did a great job of maintaining that team's focus and navigating them to a national championship. But it was eye-opening, and I think everybody knew what was going on with Dan Mullen.
it was sour grapes. And I don't blame Dan Mullen for having sour grapes and losing a kid like that, because he's a generational player, and he's a game changer, obviously. He would have helped Mississippi State, and I don't think they would have won a national title. I think Cam made the right decision. And I think Cam made the right decision based on what he said. You know, Auburn was loaded with veteran players, and Mississippi State wasn't. And, you know, obviously it worked out for him. But, yeah, you know, just kind of felt for Cam and his family and what they went through during that time. And but I'm kind of glad it's out there in the open. And, you know, look, I don't think any of us like Dan Mullen. We never have. So it just kind of exposes him to what we already thought he was. So, but anyway, good take by Cam. And, you know, I know Cam's a different guy. He's eccentric. But, you know, man, a lot of respect for what he had to go through and how he finished that year.
Final question, Brett. J.P. Pegues commits to Auburn. Auburn basketball trying to shore up this roster for 2024 and 2025. Holding on to Bruce Pearl. I know that, you know, maybe there was not even Kentucky entertaining Bruce Pearl, but anytime a head coaching job like that comes open, all of us that love our coaches like we do Bruce don't want to see him as part of the conversation on whether he'll end up there. So just hit on basketball real quick.
Well, the first thing I'll say is you want your coach to be wanted by other pros. You know, that tells you that you got somebody that's really good. And we don't need another program coming after Bruce Pearl to tell us he's good, but that's what you want. You want schools like Kentucky and top schools to come after your coach because he's doing a great job. But I think Bruce is going to stay at Auburn until he retires. I really do. He's building another good team. I mean, he's doing a good job of keeping, you know, this team together, it seems like. Haven't had but a couple of guys go in the portal to this point, KD and Trey, and now Aiden Holloway, really three. But, you know, I don't think anybody's too upset about Aiden. You know, we wish him nothing but the best wherever he ends up. I think Trey ends up coming back to Auburn. I don't know why I have that feeling, but I do. I've got a gut feeling. I think Auburn ends up getting Janai Broome to come back, and I think he's got a chance to be up for National Player of the Year, and I think he'll definitely be the preseason favorite for SEC Player of the Year. So if we get those back, and you get Ja'Kai Howard and Todd Pettiford in there, and you add Pegues, like you just said, you know, that committed yesterday. I mean, Bruce Pearl's putting together another great basketball team that we're going to have fun watching next year. And that's what we're going to get every year with Bruce Pearl in this team. Auburn's not going anywhere. Auburn's always going to be in the thick of it. You know, they get to go to the Maui Invitational and play in a loaded field with UConn and North Carolina and Dayton, Michigan State. It's loaded. But Auburn will be right there. And when you look at that field, Auburn belongs in that field. It's not like, oh, Auburn's there and all these other good teams. No, Auburn's beaten several of those teams over the last few years. And, you know, they're right back in it in second time in a Maui Invitational. I don't think any of us ever thought we'd ever see Auburn in the first Maui Invitational. But now they're in their second one, and that just shows you where this program is. So continuing to keep a good product out there on the floor year in and year out. Glad we're going to keep Bruce Pearl.
Brett, have a great day, buddy. Look forward to having you on next week.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. 256-234-6221. We come back. A few more segments here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing. At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation is coming soon to the corner of 280 and 49 North in Daytonville. This new 10,000 square foot facility is conveniently located to serve the residents of the Lake Martin area and its many communities. A branch of Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory in Opelika, Lake Martin Funeral Home and Cremation looks forward to serving your families and your communities, as we have since 1900 at Frederick Dean. 256-750-0381.
Truckloads of fresh inventory are rolling into Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika, like this powerful all-new GMC Sierra 1500 SLT, now available with up to $13,000 off. Purchase the roomy GMC Terrain SLT, discounted up to $97.50 off, and the GMC Acadia AT4 all-wheel drive, discounted up to $8,000 off. Enjoy no payments till the end of summer at Glenn Smith GMC. Over 350 new and used vehicles on the lot or on the way.
Get ready to smile.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Saturday Sports Countdown. Don't know if you care, don't know how much you read into it, but Auburn moves away from the Under Armour deal, signs a 10-year deal with Nike. Does it help, Scott? How much do you read into it? Is it going to help in recruiting? I don't know what to take. I know that the gear, I like Nike gear better. I think the options are going to be more available. I think all of those things are true. I think the brand's, of course, a lot stronger and a lot better than Under Armour. I understand all of those things, but how much of a true help is it going to be?
Now, 15 years ago, I'd have said it was everything. It was like, that's why we can't win in basketball.
Yeah.
And
that's what you were told?
Yeah, and to an extent, there's some truth to if you play for a Nike or a Jordan or an Adidas AAU team, more than likely you're being steered toward a Nike or a Jordan or an Adidas college program. So if you're Under Armour and you're one of the few schools that are Under Armour, then, it could be an issue. So I don't think it hurts Auburn, obviously, anymore, but I don't know if it's just some big whoop-de-doo. But in basketball, I think it does help some because there are some – Auburn has positioned itself now. I guess 10, 15 years ago it didn't matter because we weren't good. But now we're at a point where, maybe one of these 2 or 3 of these guys that maybe Auburn wouldn't have had an opportunity to get now opens the door because they are a Nike brand. But outside of just, I think, having some better-looking things, don't think it matters.
I'm kind of with you. I do think that it potentially opens Bo Jackson up to more commercial opportunities, more hoopla around his exploits. And I think that's a great thing because I do think Charles Barkley, heck, he's on television more than just about anyone, especially during this basketball run. So for Bo Jackson to maybe get a little bit more there would be great. As an Auburn fan, anytime you show him, talk about him is a plus. I think it gets more buzz around your program, and I do think Nike's a better brand to potentially pull that off. So I did hear that in basketball, if you wanted to go with the Jordan brand, playing in basketball, Jordan, that there is some kind of stipulation in the contract where you don't necessarily just have to wear the Nike. You can wear the Jordan if you have the Nike contract, and I'm sure basketball would like that. Do you see the same? Is that something you feel like the players and the coaches would want to do?
Yeah, if you're a Aiden Holloway, for example, I'm sure he came from whatever his AAU program was.
A Nike Select team, yes.
I see, not that prohibits you, but it's just you're opening avenues, and from a marketing standpoint, they're one of the biggest brands in the world, so you would want that opportunity. But I don't think it matters in other sports. Like I don't think it matters in terms of getting players. Now there may be some different little things because we're a new school on the initial front end. Maybe there's some swag and things that are happening that are exclusive for Auburn. I think because of I don't think anybody does social media better than Auburn's social media team, at least from an athletic standpoint. They are the very best. And so when you're combining that with Nike, like even the announcement, I thought was fantastic.
Really, I agree.
I think you're combining two marketing machines that understand it, and I think that Bruce could be used in something. I think it's good for Auburn. The brand for Auburn being connected with Nike is good.
I did hear, that with the Nike, the availability to turn special uniform combinations when wanted is a little easier than the turnover that you would get with Under Armour, and maybe that's true. Maybe it's a little bit more of a quick turn if you have something that you want to do there. So it did bring up some thoughts to me, and it always becomes a good mix in the fan base on whether you like the traditional look, the consistent traditional look, or would you like to see the team go into more differing looks, more color combinations, not necessarily all the way to the level that Oregon's gone, but maybe, start progressing in a level. There has been a lot of back and forth, and Auburn and Alabama fans like to go at one another when it comes to this. But your thoughts there. I've been the first one to say, look, I love Auburn, but if I'm part of the university that's won 5 national championships over the last 8 or 9 years and consistently winning 11 or 12 games and playing in the playoffs, and that's the brand and that's who we are right now, then I'm all about just staying the course, being a little bit more traditional. And maybe I'm about to get darts thrown at me beyond belief. But if I'm the brand that needs a little buzz, if I'm the Auburn basketball program that needed Bruce Pearl to come in and build something up, or the football program that would like to go from 8 wins to 12 to 13 wins a season, hey, maybe whatever generates eyeballs for the talent that we're after may be a good thing. Where do you fall in line with that? Because I do think Nike opens up a lot of avenues to be able to do some different things on looks.
I'm a traditionalist when it comes to certain. Hold on, when it comes to certain things, I'm a traditionalist, but I also understand that today's culture is not the same 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. So I like the option to have, I'm not saying every game we got to have a orange and a green and a blue, all that's fine. But, once a year or once every couple of years, or if we're doing something special, do something a little bit different, because not that the uniform changes anything. But we talked about Club Shay Shay. Well, listening to Johnny Manziel, he said he wanted to go to Oregon. But Marcus Mariota was there, and they ended up shifting his thoughts. But he said, man, all the gear. He's like, that as a high school kid, seeing all the different uniform combinations and all the things that you had access to, that made me attracted to that school. So, yes, the quality of product, obviously, that you're putting on the field that makes you successful. But if I'm a 15, 16-year-old kid, the way that I market to you is a lot different than I'm marketing to a 60-year-old person. Now, granted, the 60-year-old person is who's writing the checks for you to be able to get those kids. So that's where the dilemma comes in if you're a place like Auburn, who is as we'll stick with the word traditional, is as traditional as it as it is in the country. And so when you have that and you're bringing in the type of athletes that we're bringing in, you got to talk to them a little bit different. You got to do things different. And that's why Harsin failed. Above anything else, his relatability and able to connect with the athletes, student athletes, was not there. And so I could go into a whole other conversation about some of this. But I think that outside of just Auburn and football, just when we're talking about education or we're talking about workforce, or you have to market or target or speak to, the messaging has to correlate to the person that you're talking to. So what works for me may not work for a 14-year-old kid or a 65-year-old kid. So just having an understanding of that, I think, is very important. But to answer your initial question, I would like to see some infusion of some new.
I would too. And, look, I don't want to be Alabama. That's I think, the difference here. I don't care to have a conversation with Luke, and we'll have these arguments back and forth. And Luke, if he says, I want traditional, I want to look traditional, I want the same look, I don't blame you. Like, I can appreciate that, but, I don't want to be Alabama. I like to be something different. And if something different means not being so cut and dry on my looks and the way that I present our market and our brand, then so be it. And now, many Auburn fans may say, Randy, you're in the wrong here. Just kind of back off.
I think we're in the minority on this. I think
I agree.
More than half, probably. More, I'd say.
Want to just stay consistent. But I've been arguing this for several years that, we do need a refresh. And if we were getting consistent greatness on the field, then maybe we don't need a refresh. But I don't think anybody would deny that we needed a refresh when it came to basketball. We got it. And even with the Under Armour contract, we looked different. We played in different colors. It was never just basic looks. And I do think that we've carried ourselves in a much different way under Bruce Pearl. And I do feel like that maybe in football that would help too. So if I'm in the minority here, so be it. But I'm going to be the first to applaud when we show up out there and we look.
One time, just one time, if we came out and just, I don't even know what it would, just something slightly different. Like if we have a stripe on the uniform, people freak out. So it's like, and I get it. I do understand it. Like that's why you love Auburn and it's, this, of all the things it represents. But, we throw around the term. I used it earlier, and I try my best not to use it so much anymore. I've really focused on it, not using the Auburn man thing. Like, I get what it means, and that's not to disrespect anybody because I do understand what it means. But the Auburn man, the catalyst for that really starting, the foundation of that isn't the same. That's not reflective of what we've got going on now. Like the makeup of the university is not the same. The makeup of the athletes that are out there are not the same. So what that correlates to isn't necessarily the same thing. So as a 16-year-old kid, I don't care about the Auburn man, like in terms of that and what that represents. Now, when I get there, I may grow to understand where that came from, but that's not what is attractive to me.
Not what's going to initially say.
Yeah, it's like, what are we doing to attract? I mean, I'm in this business all day, where there's a city council person that's working for the college. What are you doing to attract the type of person that you want to come here or the type of business that you want to come here? And so you have to change your tactics if you want different results. So not saying that having a new uniform means we're going to go 14-0. No, that's not what it means, but it does mean that Auburn is looking at ways to attract the type of kids that are coming out now, and you have to. Even Saban, as traditional as he was in terms of like how he did things and structured an organization.
Changed his whole offense.
He adapted to the times. Like you have to change or you will be left behind. And like we're in a stagnant society in certain aspects, and so you don't ever want to become something where you're doing it's expected. Now the brand is brand. Nike just do it. I get it. And I'm going on a whole different thing, but it comes back to it. Like these kids, they're on their phone 24/7. They like to have choice in things. Like when you're providing them options to do things, that's better than you telling them this is what we're going to do. So if you went in right now and told Benjamin Russell on open up the game against Opelika, we're going to have black jerseys, they'd lose their mind. Like it'd be the kids would be excited about it. It'd be something new. So like I just think that we have to adapt our thinking to adjust to the people that we're dealing with and not them the other way around.
Very good points. Go ahead and take another break. We'll come back. 2 more segments here on the Saturday Sports Countdown.
OGS Tournaments presents Crank for Bank. Win over $1.6 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 75 tag crappie are waiting to be caught by you in Lake Martin. Register now online at crankforbank.com for only $120. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or the shores of Lake Martin to win over $1.6 million in cash and prizes. It's Crank for Bank.
There's a new standard for the marine industry on Lake Martin, being set by Momentum Marine Lake Martin. Momentum Marine is located at the Blue Creek Bridge on Highway 49 South. Stop by soon and meet Les and the staff. While you're here, take a look at our extensive line of boats. Momentum Marine carries Crest, Manitou, Centurion, Monterey, and Robalo boats. Whatever your boating needs or dreams, the pros in Momentum will help you find the perfect boat. Be sure to ask about our brand new rental fleet. Stop by Momentum soon and experience the difference. Let Momentum Marine show you how to experience freedom on the water.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
The food at Oscar's Cafe makes your mouth water. At Oscar's, enjoy great tasting catfish, or maybe you're just in the mood for one of Oscar's fresh salads. Even kids know the place for a fine meal is Oscar's with a great kids menu. Oscar's also has great tasting burgers full of backyard flavor. So come on out to Oscar's Cafe for great food and homegrown hospitality. We're located on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, just before the Blue Creek Bridge. And remember, it's all fun and games till there's only one cheese ball left.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SDC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
OGS Tournaments presents Crank for Bank. Win over $1.6 million in cash and prizes. Over 200 tag bass and 75 tag crappie are waiting to be caught by you in Lake Martin. Register now online at crankforbank.com for only $120. All ages are welcome. Fish from the dock, boat, or the shores of Lake Martin to win over $1.6 million in cash and prizes. It's Crank for Bank.
Scott, UConn, that is a special college basketball team. And Danny Hurley is from a special family of basketball. I think I saw a graphic pop up during that national championship run that his father won 27 state championships in New Jersey during his tenure as a high school basketball coach. He got swayed by as many colleges as there were out there to move into the college ranks and just never did. But Danny Hurley's got all of that. He just knows how to work the system, knows how to get players in there. Very, very impressed. And UConn, they're the blue blood of blue bloods now in mine and your lifetime. I mean, that's what, their 6th or 7th national championship over the last 30 years.
And, I mean, that's on both sides too, really.
Great point, yes, because the women's so strong.
So I'll say this. I had forgotten about this, and I remembered it when it happened, but video circulated from after the 2020 season or during the 2020 season where they didn't really finish where they maybe thought. But he was like, you better get us now. We got some young guys coming, kind of what Deion said, but, like, it was different. Like, he was very intentional about you. He was like, I understand the expectation of what this program has, but y'all better get us now because we've got some people coming. And the recruiting class that has come, like, that won these last 2, that's from that. So saying that, he built it the right way and has, like, they're not going anywhere. They're not. I mean, Purdue, I thought was last year's Purdue wasn't that as I thought they were a little bit of a fallacy, but this year's team I thought was pretty dang good, and they embarrassed them. I mean, they didn't. I mean, they covered, which that doesn't mean a lot for some people, but they covered every game in the tournament. They went like 14-1 through like a stretch of covering. Like they were just better than everybody, but they had skilled position players, they had interior players, they played great defense, they were well coached, and at no point did you ever think that UConn was going to lose any of these games. Like even like they only trailed, which was in the last game basically. Before that, I think they trailed like for 36 seconds during the tournament. But hats off to them. Like UConn was that was a real deal. And to go back to back in any sport stuff, but in college basketball, it's nearly impossible.
Well, they let Edey get his, and he got it. He scored 37 points. I mean, Braden Smith scored 12, so between the two of them, they had 49 of the 60, so only 11 more points in the 75-60 UConn win, and I don't see any end coming. You know, as long as that guy's there and he keeps going out there and, you know, like Spencer, you know, you go grab a glue piece to go along with Newton up top. Man, I love Newton. You know, 6'5" point guard, can shoot the ball from the perimeter, can distribute. Castle's another guy. I couldn't hardly tell them two apart. I was like, which one of them just did that? Another 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" guy that can handle the basketball. It's a beautiful style to watch, and when they lock down on you, and I think that is the difference in AAU basketball, high school basketball, at the premier level, all the way up to the college ranks, is defense. If you can't lock down somebody defensively and shut down whatever they're needing to do, then it's very hard to win championships. And I think our schools here in the state of Alabama have been able to do that, even Alabama. When Alabama needed to lock down to get through some of these games, they had the ability to do that. Auburn, the game they beat Alabama, the ability to go outside the perimeter and lock them down and not give them as many open looks. You had to do that. So that's where UConn was special, though.
Well, let me ask this then, and it's not a knock on Auburn, but so we've seen in Bruce's style of play or his system, he likes kind of smallish guards, but as we continue to see the elevation of some of the evolution of the position where you're starting to really see more of 6'3", 6'4", even 6'5", in some instances in the NBA point guards. Will we adjust to that, you ever think, or we'll just go stick with what we got and we're going to make it work, and because he's had so much success with it?
I think I think Bruce Pearl would change with the times as good as anyone. I have confidence that he would, but I think the guys that he's gone and recruited have shown the ability to do what he needs, and then they get there and they don't necessarily pull that off. And this year is a prime example. I mean, no one that saw Aiden Holloway even the first 6 or 8 games of the season thought that he was going to get the yip shooting the basketball. And we were that shooter away from we were a great team. I mean, this was a very good SEC championship tournament team for Auburn. This was a super team. This is one we'll always look back and go, man, that was a great team. But we were that premier shooter from the perimeter from being a championship caliber team in the NCAA tournament. But he went out and he got the guy that he thought could do it. You know, at a certain point, you got to just say sometimes it doesn't pan out the way that you thought that it would. And I felt that way this year. Now, Trey Donaldson's a big point. That's a massive guy. You know, he's big, strong, quarterback in high school, physical. So we got that, and we hope maybe that he ends up coming back. So I don't think necessarily he only goes after small guards. He's had some small guards, but not all small guards are made the same. You know, some small guards are Jared Harper, and other small guards are Sharif Cooper. And the difference in those two games, in my view, is tremendous, especially on the defensive end. Jared Harper is just going to get up in you. He's physical. He ain't no size, but my gosh, he's like Doc Robinson during my generation. That guy wasn't big. That guy compete. He was tough. He was physical. He was strong. You knew that you were in for it. Whereas some of these other guys they're great scorers. They're the best AAU talent that you could possibly get, but I don't think that they defend. And so you have to have a little mixture of both. I hope I answered your question.
It does. I mean, I have no knock on it because it's not like Sears is 6'5". I mean,
no.
So I mean, you don't have to have that. I think about some of the premier teams, and when you start getting into like you looking at like a UConn or even like I know we hadn't really talked much about Kentucky, but Kentucky, like Shepherd, look, I mean, like, you know, and connect. I mean, like, you want some bigger guys because it creates matchup problems, but for the style of play that Bruce likes, you need that. But if you're brought in to be a shooter, and that's what we were expecting from Aiden, and it doesn't pan out, and you've kind of built your roster around that, then, yeah, there's not much you can do at that point. Like, it's just, it is what it is. We thought this was it, and it wasn't. But anyway, I've just been, I love a big
you sound a lot like many Auburn callers that we get every week. Feel the exact same way. Let's go ahead and take our last break. When we come back, we'll close out the program.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
When drinking, take a sober ride home, not someone's life. Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Rustical, proud of our exceptional nurses, like Nurse Brandy Worthy. Brandy represents the selfless, compassionate clinical leader patients expect and coworkers admire. Brandy was recently honored with the Nightingale Award for Nursing Excellence for her high standards, sound judgment, and caring manner. Her passion for her profession inspires us all.
Being a nurse is not just what you do, it's who you are. I'm proud to be a part of the nursing team at Russell Medical. We are the link between all hospital services, providing you with exceptional, personalized care.
If you're tired of the same old and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
Main Street Family Urgent Care.
Main Street Family Care offers a wide array of services that allows them to treat many conditions, and they also offer primary care. In addition to these services, they also offer DOT physical exams, lab testing, sports physicals, and vaccines. They accept most major insurance plans, including Medicaid. Main Street Family Care opens 7 days a week.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Fill your tank, not your wine glass. What? Why is there a wine glass in your car? Alabama has a code of the road, and knowing it helps you follow it. This is a message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
Final segment here on the program. Been a good one today. Again, spring sports in full swing right now in the state of Alabama. If you have schools, teams, players to nominate for Athletes of the Week through the AHSAA radio network, please send those in to us. Find our social media outlets. Scott, this is our final thing. It's tougher and tougher in today's environment with the lack of as many newspaper reporters as we once had growing up. And I don't want to call it the death of newspapers, but some that are holding on we're lucky, like here in our community, to have one that's holding on and hopefully thriving. But in a lot of communities out there, you don't have the sports reporters that you once had, and you don't have the statewide Ron Ingrams that you once had out there covering sports. And so we're trying to fill a void right there. But in order to fill that void and not have reporters on the ground, we depend on everyone to send that send those reports to us, send stats over to us, send photos over to us so we can post those out there. It's a crazy time to say that all of us have this and you've got access to so much more information than you once had, that there could be less information out there, but that is the truth when it comes to high school sports in a lot of these states.
Yeah, and a lot of times, too, because of the lack of reporting necessarily, if you're a top-tier guy or if you're part of a good team, it's an organic type of or self-promotion, rather. It's self-promotion. So, like a kid, like you go to somebody's Instagram profile and you look at their reels and stuff. So, like, they're promoting themselves where you're not getting the actual, like, news coverage of it. So,
Yes.
it's hard to keep up with, 10,000 kids when you're competing, especially in spring sports when there's so many. So, if you don't know somebody in a community or have a connection to somebody, it's hard to keep up. Football, like I said, it's a little different because it's all in one day. It's somebody's covering, you're singing in, and it's a little different because it's the only sport that's taking place. Basketball is a little tougher because there's multiple games during the week and you have to rely on somebody doing it. But it's tougher in the spring, I think, just because there's so many athletes in sports segments.
Well, I get hit all the time on why does that school get more recognition than, say, this school? Or why does that athlete get more recognition than this one? It's simple. Like, someone has to be either at the school, whether it be a coach, whether it be, someone inside the school that really embraces sending information in, but somebody's got to send that in. And a lot of those reports go into the AHSAA and Ron Ingram, who does an unbelievable job. Thank the Lord for Ron Ingram in this state. You can't get anybody better. And then he disseminates that out to us, and then we report on it. We get players of the week. But if you're a part of a school that doesn't send anything in, you don't get any. It's where the recognition going to come from? So I'm saying this to you, the parents, to you, the athlete. If you're wondering why maybe you don't get as much recognition as you feel like you do, well, you've got to actually, in today's world, with the lack of true sports reporters out there covering these events, you've got to take the initiative to get the word out. And I promise you send something in to us with our radio network and you find us on Facebook and you send something to us, man, we're posting it. If it makes any sense. And I've been doing this for years. I have yet to have anyone send me something that I go, come on, man. I mean, why did you send that one in? Every time something's sent in, I read it and I go, man, I'm so happy that they sent me this because that kid, his efforts or her efforts have deserved the nomination, and I'm so happy that they sent it so we can get them some recognition that they deserve. That's why we do it. We know how much it meant to Scott and myself. Anytime that something good went on in our lives and somebody came out, took a photo, or gave us a recognition, how much it meant to us. And we know how much it means to a lot of you out there, but please send it in. I can't stress enough. We need it. Scott and I were working through it this morning. Like, did you get this score on this? Well, if I'm sitting here searching social media to try to find it, and it's tough out there. So we say that AHSAA Radio Network's where you can find us, all social media outlets, and comment or message us there. We're up at the end of the program. I want to thank you for tuning in today. For Scott Hardy, I'm Randy Lee saying thanks for tuning into the Saturday Sports Countdown.
If you listen carefully, you'll hear the roads of Alabama calling. And Sarah Honda has your answer. Serving you for over 40 years with one of the largest Honda and pre-owned inventories in the state, and the Sarah Promise. Our best deal when you buy or trade, a 72-hour exchange policy, a no-hassle trade-in promise. Written offers are good for 7 days. And our best service promise. Our factory-certified technicians help keep your vehicle running smoothly. That's why Alabama can be yours to discover in a new vehicle from Sarah Honda in Sylacauga.
Farmers and Merchants Bank of Dadeville is building a foundation of strength and trust in the entire Lake Martin community. With our modern branch in Dadeville and caring, attentive staff, we've established Farmers and Merchants Bank as a reliable friend to your banking needs. Whether it's just a savings or checking account or any commercial, auto, or real estate loan, Farmers has local decision-making to build a relationship with you and your needs. Farmers and Merchants Community Bank. Strength, service, community.
Lee Apparel is your go-to vendor for screen-printed and embroidered apparel and promotional products. We print and embroider free custom-made graphics or outsourced designs on everything from t-shirts, headwear, corporate wear, team sportswear, high-end safety apparel, and promotional products. At Lee Apparel, you can always expect quick turnaround time, competitive pricing, friendly customer service, and free in-hands delivery on all orders. Visit us at leeapparel.com to get started.
This is Kalijah Country, Lake Martin's best country. Kalijah Country 97.5.
Country look good on you. Tearing up an old two-lane too. Way down in Alabama, where they love Nick Saban. Trying to write a song, the local country station will play.
Lake Martin's best country. Kalijah Country 97.5.
There's a new standard for the marine industry on Lake Martin, being set by Momentum Marine Lake Martin. Momentum Marine is located at the Blue Creek Bridge on Highway 49 South. Stop by soon and meet Les and the staff. While you're here, take a look at our extensive line of boats. Momentum Marine carries Crest, Manitou, Centurion, Monterey, and Robalo boats. Whatever your boating needs or dreams, the pros in Momentum will help you find the perfect boat. Be sure to ask about our brand new rental fleet. Stop by Momentum soon and experience the difference. Let Momentum Marine show you how to experience freedom on the water.
Are you waking up in the morning with a sore jaw, headaches, maybe even ringing in your ears, all because you're grinding and clenching your teeth at night? That's exactly what was going on with me. That's when I found this, the Sportz Night Guard. Now the Sportz Night Guard redirects the bite force away from the back teeth, reducing jaw pain while still protecting the teeth. This unique design is what makes Sportz Night Guard different from all other traditional grind guards. Go to BruxNightGuard.com and order yours today.